Welcome back to Exquisitely Aligned. I'm Gina Meyer Vincent, your host and your personal soul shifter. Here at Exquisitely Aligned, we help you define and design the future you desire and deserve, your most magnificent future. Today, I'm excited to share with you 3 strategies that you can do exactly that. It's just going to be you and I today. Isn't that exciting? I want to start with something that happened to myself and my husband recently. One day not long ago, Mark and I were walking in Dana Point Harbor here in Southern California, Orange County, and my husband and I came across a truly awe-inspiring sight, a super yacht named Water Lily. I saw a masterpiece, a floating work of art. I knew this wasn't just a boat. It wasn't even just a yacht. It was a statement, the aesthetic ideal of a floating palace. My mind drifted through the layers of its creation, realizing the Water Lily truly wasn't just a yacht. It was actually a livelihood for countless, or should I say scores of individuals. Designers, architects, interior decorators, craftspeople, captain, and crew all brought their talents to create this floating symphony of elegance. It was a product, the ideal product of a complex chain reaction of creativity. Mark saw something entirely different. He grumped, "Oh, who needs a boat that big?" Our differing points of view ignited a conversation about perspective. He saw impracticality, waste, and excess. I, on the other hand, saw human art and innovation. Not exactly tomato, tomato, and yet both of us were correct. Obviously, no one needs a boat that big, just like no one needs more than bare shelter, a serviceable car. No one needs that bucket list vacation or a big white wedding, but we aren't here merely to survive and have our basic needs met. We are here to thrive, to be in awe of life and living, and beauty, elegance, and luxury contribute to that amazing, impactful, inspiring energy. Am I right? The water lily is a metaphor for our biggest, well, no, let me start again. The water lily is a metaphor for your biggest dreams and desires. Sure, what you most desire in life can feel unnecessary or quote unquote, just too much. But leaning into not only desiring, but actively inviting your super yacht, whatever it may be, is good because it challenges you to make intentional choices. You work hard. I know you do. I can feel it. I believe you're a go-getter. Otherwise, why would you be listening to a podcast about exquisite alignment? I'm guessing you're hustling, investing time, money, and energy into your life and your work, especially if you're in the growth stage, whether that be a business, a marriage, a family, or maybe all of the above, right? I've been there. But if you have a sense that something crucial is missing in your life, it's not because you're bad, ungrateful, or selfish. You're not. And it's not because you're an ego or over materialistic. You're not. And it's certainly not because you're undeserving. You're not. No, you have a desire for more because your exquisitely aligned future is calling you and you're listening. You're listening because you don't yet have what you want, right? And when you have a desire written on your heart, it will wait for you, but not forever. It is calling to you, but you must answer it. It's time to stop thinking someday and start prioritizing right now. So a client of mine, we're just going to call her Celeste for privacy protection, used to say someday, someday, someday. And when we started together, she had made one really bold, courageous move. She was newly separated. But while knowing she wanted more out of life, she didn't know what her more was. She'd been a faithful mother, wife for over 20 years, a doting mother of 3, a phenomenal daughter-in-law, and built a successful dental practice alongside. And from the outside looking in, she had a good life and she knew she did. But the problem was it didn't fill her as she thought it should. She worked hard. She invested. It didn't thrill her, and it definitely didn't fulfill her. So we did a deep dive together to define her more. You know a Celeste. Maybe you are a Celeste. Maybe you have a more calling you. I know you do. I know you have a purpose. I know you have a passion, but you still need to define your more. And when you define it, you must honor the truth that brought it to you and that you will use to bring it to life. This is where the work is. You see, most women and men don't fully honor their truth in one key area, and that is the alignment and management of their divine resources. So today is about, truly your life is about aligning and managing your divine resources. And there are 3 of them. I already shared them when we talked earlier about you being a go-getter, listening into podcast, filling your heart and your soul so that you can have your more. You're investing in your future by being here right now. So time, money, and energy. And I have 3 questions for you. Have you defined the future you desire and deserve? I'm going to call it your more. Again, the question is, have you defined the future you desire and deserve your more? And how are you spending each of your precious divine resources? How are you spending your time, money, and energy? Are they aligned when you spend them to call in and invite that future you've designed, defined, desire, and deserve? Celeste knew she wanted more, but she needed to define it. And once she did, once she had that clear picture, she was more open to calling it in, to receiving it. One thing I love about her is she is a visual person. She's a visionary. I get it, because I am too. And there are a lot of visual people, but there's also other people who are excellent at putting their thoughts into words. So write them down. Keep a journal. Now, Celeste's journal is color-coded. It is magnificent. It looks like a piece of art. Other things about her. She loves to connect with people and animals. She's a happy wanderer. She loves to explore places and cultures. Now, her ex-husband saw her desires as too much. Maybe you relate to that. Maybe you've been around somebody who gives you that look. You're too much. What are you talking about? He diminished her dreams. He squashed them. And during that marriage, she silenced herself. So many people do. And the more she defined her more, she knew she had outgrown that relationship and it was time to move on. So let me make a gentle disclaimer here before I go any deeper, because this is a question that comes up often when I meet people for the first time. If I work with you, am I going to leave my spouse? Why? Are you in the middle of a divorce? So I want you to understand that while Celeste's husband was a block during their time together for her to find her more, I'm not saying you have to step away from a partner or a marriage to realize you're more. Not at all. Remember my husband, Mark? We may have disagreed on the meaning of the super yacht water lily. We disagree on other things as well. But the truth is, for the past 24 years of marriage, we support each other and love each other. And my more includes making our relationship deeper and better always. For Celeste, though, her ex was a blocker. And we all have blockers, including our relationships with our divine resources, time, money, and energy. Celeste began to reevaluate how she was spending hers. She started booking amazing trips, just came back from Mexico with her daughter, headed to Guatemala, giving of herself, doing mission work with her high school son. How cool is that? And as if that's not enough, she's taking all 3 children to Europe to fulfill her lifelong dream of shopping the Christmas markets in Munich and Prague and giving her loves the trip they'll always remember. She's also increased her medical practices, her dental practices net income by more than 10% and has plans to grow it an additional 18%. All of this because she's intentional about how she spends her divine resources now. That's the change. That's the shift. So while working together, because I'm a numbers person, I love math, I ran the numbers to show her the value of hiring on another doctor, somebody who could cover for her while she was traveling the world, somebody who could bring in and see more patients. She went ahead and scrutinized her business and found the financial leaks. We all have them, and they cost us not only that money, but the time it took to earn the money, the energy it took to earn that money. We have them not only in our business, but our personal lives as well. Those auto draft, monthly, annual, you know it. You know we have them. And she began to say no to the things that exhausted her. I asked her to go through and declutter her home and office. Why? Because she's a visual person. And I know myself personally, clutter distracts. And some of that clutter turned into cash thanks to social media, Facebook Marketplace. Cash she has now to travel and do the things she wants to. She also walked away, sadly, from a few long-term friendships that once she started really examining them, realized they no longer aligned with the future she saw for herself. I'm not going to tell you it was easy. She'll tell you the same. It wasn't, but it was definitely worth it. You see, Celeste learned how to choose how she spends her time, money, and energy. Now she's filled up instead of wrung dry. And let me tell you, she appreciates it more. She glows. People are noticing her, recognizing it, telling her she looks different. Her energy feels different. Instead of wasted effort and chasing an undefined happiness, right? Those check boxes we all believe are going to help us feel fulfilled. She knows exactly what her more is. And each time she is intentional in how she aligns with it, she takes pride in her strength, her plan, and her will to bring it into reality. It's really beautiful. It's magnetic. Now, this is something you already know, but I'm going to remind you anyway. Our divine resources can easily become off kilter in our fast-paced world. Listen, how often do we each seek instant gratification, like a shot of caffeine, sugar, or dope? You might be drinking something sweet while we're having this conversation. And this is all influenced by advertising, social media, and of course, our dear friends at Starbucks. And my friend, the future you desire and deserve isn't about instant gratification. You know that. It's about long-term. It's about legacy building. It's about lifelong bliss and maybe luxury, if that's your more, even if it's not as big as a super yacht. You know, my husband is right on one level, right? No one needs that super yacht. But for most of us, we can't stay right where we are here in this moment in time and say with every ounce of our being that we feel fulfilled, that we feel whole, and we truly feel we're living the life we desire, designed, and deserve. So this is my invitation to you, and I wanted to share this because I feel it's so powerful. I'm inviting you to be courageous and let your mind drift and take you to a place where you can take a stand for your most magnificent future. Here's the question. Will you give yourself permission to think even bigger and open yourself up to life's beauty, elegance, and luxury? These divine resources are gifts. They're bestowed upon us each and every day as we awake. and how we spend them, how we renew them, are how we express what we want and what we value. And the way we spend them determines whether we end up deserve, right? You must know if you're shepherding your divine is driven by your vision for a life you defined and designed, the life you desire and deserve. What I know is that if your answer is not yet, then I can help you, because I've done dozens of events sharing this information. I've worked 21 years with wonderful clients, and I know the questions that you can ask yourself. A few quick little shifts you can put into action to align with your decisions and your desires. We can call them needle moving questions, or let's say the keys to your super yacht future, super yacht living, super yacht lifestyle, whatever fits you. The first question is for you to understand and connect with, how does it feel when you're aligned versus misaligned? Because you know how harmony feels versus the disappointment 30 minutes after you've acted on impulse. We all do. And so if you can keep that as your barometer, aligned versus misaligned, things start to happen very quickly for you. And then these questions you can ask yourself each time you come to an opportunity to dip into your divine resources. So the first one is, does this exchange or investment of time, money, and energy support my desire for my most magnificent future? Again, does this exchange or investment, whatever it might be, purchase, place, wherever, support my desire for my more magnificent future? Next, how does this use of my resources bring me closer to my goals and aspirations? How does it help me build my long-lasting bliss, my legacy, if you're into building a legacy? Again, how does this use of resources, time, money, and energy, bring me closer to my goals and aspirations, helping me fulfill my, and then you fill in the blank, building my legacy, living my life of whatever luxury looks like for you? And then, is this expense for instant gratification or long-lasting bliss? In other words, will it light me up from the inside for days to come? Or in the next 20, 30 minutes, hour, will it leave me feeling darker, emptier? Whatever the word is for you. Now, I like to go even deeper than these questions. I like to think about, going back to Celeste, people and places, 2Ps. Am I spending my time, money, and energy with people who I align with? They have the similar values and aspirations. They support me. They cheer me on. They're there for me when I'm bumped and bruised. They see me. They value me. They hear me. Those are the things you fill in the blanks. You know what's right. And the other one is, am I spending my time, money, and energy, my instinct, my time, money, energy in places that align with my values and my aspirations? These are your needle moving questions, your keys. So the next time you reach into your wallet or click that add to cart button, next time you schedule an appointment, whether it's in your social calendar, your work calendar, next time you extend an invitation or receive one, use these questions. They're that simple. Put them to use. Next time you meet a prospect, hire someone, partner with someone for your business. Heck, the next time you're swiping right or left, if you do that, or with the way you interact with your partner, your kids, your family, your friends, use these questions. Use them nearly every decision you make. They are powerful, and so are you. This is where you align with your desires. Listen, here's where you show your maker, the oneness, God, the universe, universal wisdom, whatever that is for you. I'm going to let you fill in the blank. You also show your loved ones, your partner, your family, your friends. And most importantly, you show yourself. You remind yourself what truly matters. What is long lasting? What brings you lifelong bliss? What lights you up from the inside? What keeps you healthy? What keeps you motivated, energized, vibrant? You fill in the blank. And when you do ask these questions and really dwell on the answers, good things happen. They align and invite the life that's been calling you. For example, I love telling this story. My kids always say, "Oh no, not this one again." I know what you're going to say, Mom, but I have to share it with you. I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology for college in New York City, and I worked part-time in the fashion industry while in college. One day at my job, my boss asked me if I'd like 2 tickets that night to the London Symphony Orchestra who was in town. I jumped, raised my hand, and said, "Yes, please." You see, even back in college, I intentionally created space for excitement in my schedule. I rarely procrastinate. That's one of my values, the divine resource of time. So a few hours later, there I am in Lincoln Center with my dear friend, Michelle Fiallo, who has a new last name now. I'll keep it secret. And the symphony was wonderful. We both had a great time. It was an inspiration. It was a fabulous use of our time and energy, and happily and thankfully, none of our money, except for a subway ride, you know? And as we were leaving, Michelle was so brilliant. She said, "Hey, the opera house is still open. Let's go look." And into the lobby we went, where the opera goers were enjoying intermission. From a little distance, I heard my name, Gina Meyer. The crowd parted, and there was Ann Valley, a buyer for Neiman Marcus, who I knew from that same part-time job. She and her date were tired, right? Ha. They were tired, poor use of their time and energy, and asked if we, Michelle and I, would like their seats for the rest of the opera. And we shook our head, yes, graciously. And into the theater we went, not knowing where we'd be sitting. And we were 4th row on the aisle, listening to none other than Pavarotti. And I remember Michelle saying, "Oh my God, my father is like, he's going to flip when I tell him." I kept that stub. I have moved several times since, from New York back to New York City, back to Long Island where my parents lived. I took it to Winston-Salem where I lived briefly, back to the, Nassau County in Long Island. Then I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, lived in a few different homes there. I kept that stub. And do you know, those seats in 1990, it was a Monday night, 1990, were $90 each. That's just for the opera, never mind what the symphony was. And we were poor college students. It was magical. It was a magical evening made possible not only by the generosity of the people I was surrounded by, but because I was a good steward of my time, you see. And it aligned with the desire I had for excitement, New York City adventures, and what I was saying yes to, which is my more life. That's what I want for you. And that's why I wanted to film this and share this with you today. That's what I want for you today and for every day for your future. And you see, if I had been too busy playing catch up on all the papers, projects, etc., that I'd been putting off as a college student who was working part-time as well, I couldn't have said yes or enjoyed the evening as much as I had. If Ann Valley and her boyfriend had been better stewards of their divine resources of time, they might not have been so tired they wanted to pass off their seats, right? You see the energy that I'm speaking about, the alignment? Manage your time, money, and energy right. And the right people, places, invitations, opportunities come to support you and reward you. and you start living the life you desire and deserve. And so I have one more tip today besides those questions. This is an easy one you can take and use every single day. It's lightweight, on the go, and it's great for you especially if you're a visual person. So it's a way to remind yourself of your values, of the life you define, design, desire, and deserve. You put a $100 bill in your wallet. Crisp and new if possible. Always nice to have clean and sparkly, right? And don't spend it. It's your cue, your visual reminder that every expense is a choice. Let it be a prompt to ask yourself those questions about intention, about instant gratification versus legacy building, lifelong bliss. You fill in the blank, whatever your more is, and let it guide you to make choices that are exquisitely aligned with your more. It's that simple. $100 crisp bill as your visual. Because here's the truth. You have a life waiting for you. It's the one that's been calling to you since you were very young. It's the one you've already started, the one that brought you right here to this moment where you're listening to my New York accent. You feel it too, or you wouldn't be here still. You would have hit pause, stop. But the truth is, it won't just happen. It is calling you, but you must answer. It's time to stop thinking someday and start prioritizing right time. Time to refuse to take no for an answer. Time to believe in it so strongly that none of the so-called evidence saying it's impossible matters to you anymore. Time to want it badly enough that you are willing to do whatever it takes to create it. What's your super yacht? Even if what you desire might be too much for others, it needs to be stood for by you. You have to choose it. Will you claim your more? The life you desire and deserve next time you think about pulling out your credit card, clicking add to cart, the next time you accept an appointment, or the next time you generously offer to help someone else. In Buddhist and Hindu practice, and coming from a yoga background where the water lily is always referenced, even on clothing and logos, in publishing companies that publish yoga theory and so forth, yoga practice, yoga poses. But in Hindu and Buddhist practice, the water lily has an even more special meaning. It's not a super yacht, but you decide if this fits my story too. The water lily floats on top of the water, peaceful and calm. You've seen them. They roll with the movement beneath it, but relatively undisturbed. It's true. You could probably find it on YouTube. And as its petals close each night and open anew each day, it's a symbol of resurrection, like a spiritual rebirth. You can dream of a super yacht, or you can dream of your rebirth. You can design your most magnificent future. I'd love to be a part of making that happen. Leave me a comment. Show me a like, connect with me. You always have access to me. I am here and would love to help you make that happen easily, swiftly, and with grace. Until next time, be exquisite.